Hello, welcome to Undisputed Boxing. We're back to talk boxing review from the weekend. We didn't do a prediction on this weekend purely because, well, I thought it was going to be a routine win for Kid Galahad. But wow, what it was actually a pretty decent night of boxing. I did watch most of the fights on Sunday on repeat. But yeah, as ever, if you're new to the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are on our views. I'm here. I think
we need one to get to 50. So come on, help us out. Even if you're never going to listen to us again, just subscribe.
Exactly. Does it sound all right? By the way, I don't know. I've had some problems with these headphones. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah.
Just as pants as normal. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you should invest in a microphone yourself.
And some lighting.
Yeah, and some lighting. Yeah. I've got my my podcast lighting. It's doing the trick. All right, where do we start? Should we start at the top of the bill? Kid Galahad versus Kiko Martinez. Talk us through it.
As normal, I've been a really keen boxing fan this weekend and not seen that much. Yeah. I was actually at a wedding, so it was a bit of catch up. So I only saw the Galahad fight and Adelaye fight.
David Adelaye, yeah.
On the card. What was that on Friday? I can't remember. It was on Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it was.
So I watched that. Yeah, because I watched that live. And weirdly, I didn't know it was on, and I turned it on, and he was just starting his fight. But yeah, I just woke up in the morning and just went to see, oh, how did Kid Galahad win? And then I just saw that and was like, wow. So then had to watch it. But yeah, just. Strange one, really, because he just seemed to have it under control, and Kiko was swinging, and couldn't get his distance and couldn't land, and I think he was cut as well, wasn't he, the round before? And
yeah,
I don't know. I've seen it back. It just seems to be like out of nowhere, and just Galahad's hand just seems to drop a bit, and he gets caught like there.
Yeah,
it's I don't know. I mean, I've never seen him take many shots, but it didn't make me wonder if he's a bit chinny after that.
I don't know if he's chinny. I mean, Kiko Martinez, he brings it, doesn't he? He's a seasoned operator. He's now world champion at two different weight classes. He's 35.
He's never known as a big puncher, and I'm just surprised the effect that first punch had, and then the second was just a right. With. Someone I know the power's the last thing to go, but I don't know. I just think, look at that. I think someone like Warrington, I'm not saying Warren's got a granite chin, but he has got a decent chin. I know he's got tested recently, but I just don't think that would have happened to Warrington.
No.
I don't know. It just seemed to be a cat. I expect him to maybe wobble and have to hang on a bit, but it just seemed to, even when he had a minute left, he come up a stool and he just had no defense. It was just the same shot again. Just, I don't know, bizarre one for me.
Yeah, I think Dominic Ingle, apparently he stormed off like after the fight. I don't know if there was something that went on between the two of them, but it was really a lack of concentration, I think, from Kid Galahad. I mean, you've got to put that into the game plan that those first sort of 3 or 4 rounds, Kiko Martinez was naturally going to get frustrated with Galahad's movement, his footwork, his switch hitting, and it's exactly what happened. And then Kiko Martinez just kind of. That's what the great fighters do, isn't it? They change game plans. They go, right, this isn't working. We're getting beaten up here. As you say, he got badly cut, and it looked like Galahad was going to kind of maybe even stop him at one point. He was going to just sort of cruise to a stoppage win. And Galahad should have really prepared for that kind of right. He's going to get frustrated and he's going to come on strong and he's going to kind of try and take the center of the ring and back him up. And he's got to stay disciplined, and he didn't. And I think he was really out after that first knockdown. I think he was kind of out on his feet, and it was lucky that it was at the end of the round. And then obviously at the beginning of the next round, he just gets absolutely starched. And yeah, unbelievable, really.
Quite embarrassing, actually. I mean, it was quite embarrassing. It's this thing of, you know what I mean? I was half expecting him to at least get further on into that round. You know what I mean? Almost just like not quite on his feet, but moving around and maybe then getting, because I knew he got stopped at that point. I just didn't know exactly how it happened.
Yeah, I saw it live. I was just
walk right up to him, no subtlety about it, lunge, and almost that was what the first one was like. It's not like he's technically really gifted or he's got amazing speed. I don't know. You're right. It just must be lack of concentration. And the problem is with the way Kid Galahad fights, he's almost forced to be 100% concentrating all the time because he's not a big puncher and he's always kind of in and out, coming out at angles, some head movement, like you say, the switch hitting. And you've got to be 100% concentrating for that all the time. It's like, you know, when Joshua fought Ruiz, he had to be 100% on that, and obviously he was more because it was, you know, a massive fight for him, so it's probably easier when it's but I think for Galahad, you know, the problem is that you're right, he had to be 100% concentrated, and he probably just didn't have it in him with fighting a guy that he thought was probably washed up and probably didn't respect his power. Now I do think if there's a rematch, I do back him to win it, because I do think he will then go, wow, well, now he'll just go into game zone, and he will just stay absolutely concentrated, and it will just be like the first fight without the mistake, and maybe a little bit more cagey, obviously, unless you know, some people can fall apart after getting cleaned out of that, because he's never been stopped. He's only lost one fight, hasn't he? I think that's to
Josh
Warrington, and that was close and
split decision.
So I don't think he's been down on the canvas, but it's because he's hard to hit, but he just didn't look hard to hit in those moments. No,
I think he has to take the rematch. It's kind of a similar situation to Dillian White.
I don't think there is one, by the way.
Possibly.
I don't think there's an actual clause, because, well, when I don't know that for sure, but the way you hear one thing he's been asked about that Hearn, he's a bit sheep. He didn't answer that question. Is there a clause? He just says things like, well, we'll have to see, you know, if Kid Galahad wants, because he could make it happen because they're both with him.
I wouldn't say he could make it happen. You know, Kiko Martinez can say, no, we want to go for a unification now, and they'll go for the Mexican, Navarrete, or is it Leo Santa Cruz that has the other one?
Well,
super feather.
He's got a lot of say in it, I think, hasn't he, Hearn? I mean, but I mean, it's a problem. It depends where the money is, isn't it? But I do think it'll be that one, because it's a lot easier to make, isn't it? And as long as they satisfy money wise, I mean, he's got to look at that, and it's strange actually, because you wonder what his ambition was really going into that, and he must have thought, well, last final thing, the dice, and now he's won the belt again. Is it really to unify, or is it like, right, let's just have a rematch on a massive payday and end my career on a really big payday?
Yeah, possibly.
I say really big relative to his kind of career.
Yeah.
Because they've got to pay him at least 50-50 now.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see, what happens there, and a double kind of disappointing night for Eddie Hearn, because Terry Harper got flatlined as well by Alycia Baumgarner. Have you seen that, by the way? Alycia Baumgarner. Mate, watch that. It's a sickening knockout. Very strange.
Is it? I didn't. Yeah. I thought it was like a. Right. Okay.
Yeah. I think it was like the third round, but I mean, she was just, you know, lighting Terry up like a Christmas tree. She looked, you know, I think she won like every round. Terry Harper just looked in trouble really from the start. She just wasn't able to, deal with a jab. She had a solid jab. I was really impressed with her, actually, Alycia Baumgarner, and I think she's only one weight division down from Katie Taylor. So it'd be interesting to see if she, and I think she's fought at like welterweight before, so it'd be interesting to see if she does step up. But she's going to be a real handful for anybody.
She, I mean, Hearn said, because when I saw that she lost, I just watched some interviews. Hearn said that, I mean, I'd never heard of it, I wouldn't really, but he said that he was surprised they took the fight, considering she's not fought in a long time, hasn't she? Because she's had injury.
Yeah, over a year.
And illness, I think. So
I think it was fight camp when she last fought, the one before.
not this year's one. The one
Not
before
this year's
that.
one, the one before that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a long time out of the ring. So
it is.
I mean, the problem is with in female boxing, there's probably less known about some of the boxers because they fight less people and there's less quality to kind of judge. So you can probably get it wrong sometimes, but it might be a mixture of a tough opposite. You know, maybe if she'd took a couple of fights back and it'd been a bit different, but. I need to probably look at it, really, watch the fight.
You should look at it, yeah. I mean, she had a very high knockout ratio as well for female boxing. She was like 9 wins, 9-0 with 5 knockouts or 6 knockouts or something like that, which is quite high. But yeah, she just basically stops Terry Harper on her feet and she just looked out of it, but she was still standing up. It's like a sleeping cow, and the referee just waved it off. I could see that she didn't have any life in her eyes. So yeah, it's pretty frightening, really. Rest of the card was pretty decent. As I say, the Chris Billum-Smith was on there. I mean, he kind of laboured to a points win. I'm not that kind of sold on Chris Billum-Smith, to be honest. I think he kind of has lack of head movement and he just seems to be a little bit one-dimensional. Donte Dixon, who was on the card, 21-year-old. Donte the Problem Dixon looked really, really good. I do really rate him. I think he's 6-0 now, but that one is definitely worth watching.
Who was called the Fridge ones?
Carl the Fridge Baker.
Okay.
He was in that prize fighter with Audley Harrison, wasn't he? Carl the Fridge Baker.
Yeah,
classic.
That came up actually on one of my things. It was saying X amount years ago today since Hay starched Harrison.
Yeah, how many years ago was that? 10 years ago.
I can't remember, but it just came up. But I think we watched it, didn't we, in some like walkabout somewhere in Manchester, and quite buzzing for it, and then 2-round job, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it was there's controversy, wasn't there? Because Audley Harrison, I don't think he threw a punch, did he? He was always very tentative, but I don't think he threw a punch. I don't think he got his full purse. Something like that. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I think that was one of Eddie Hearn's first real big shows. Might even been his first pay-per-view show, actually. And he had Harrison. Yeah. Because he talks about it now. He's just like, yeah, what a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, if you can sell that on pay-per-view, then you've got a future in the game, haven't you? Staying with the heavyweights. We've talked about David Adelaye. Have we? No, yeah.
Well, just that we saw him. I mean, he wasn't up against much quality of any kind. So, again, I mean, he's looked a bit ropey in his previous fights. I can't remember his last one. He was lucky to get. In fact,
Sakalovsky.
I think I scored it to the other guy.
Yeah.
And he was very lucky to get that. This was obviously step down in levels.
Yes, I was just going to say a step down in levels just to kind of reset a little bit. I think he needs a bit more schooling.
His job did look a bit better and snappy. There's rumours that he may have injured his elbow or something, and that's been one of his issues, but don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of off the David Adelaye train for now. I'm not. I was actually quite excited about him when he came through, just based on what people were saying, like what he was doing in sparring. I don't know if there's something happens when he gets into the ring and under the lights. He just doesn't seem to. He seems to be a little bit tentative. I mean, the guy that he was fighting was an absolute, cream puff. And that's top of the bill. That's
I've seen some other like boxing commentators, like I wouldn't say they're high on him, but they're almost like he's got a lot to learn, but he's got like a lot of good basics in terms of his fluidity and his balance and movement. But obviously he needs like to learn the craft a bit more in a sense, when to throw certain shots and stuff. But I don't know. I'm not that high on him from what I've seen. I mean, he does move a bit differently than a heavyweight, and he isn't like, stiff and upright, but it's just like, I actually wonder how much power he's got when you go through the ranks. Do you know what I mean? And that last fight when he was I thought he'd lost. He seemed tentative to throw much, and I just wonder, someone who's got a bit of head movement and can throw back, does he go gun shy?
Yeah. I mean, he's caught some of these journeymen flush as well, and they haven't really moved. So he really kind of stops people on more volume, I think, than kind of concussive, like a Daniel Dubois, for instance.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, as it goes through the levels, even domestically, I think, you know, he'll, unless there's something drastically happens in the next, you know, 2 to 3 years, you know, he's a long way off, you know, some of the other prospects, you know, like the Tony Yokers and Hergovic. You know, he's at least three or 4 years away before being even in that conversation, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. Talking of like Dubois, I've not heard much news about when he's fighting next.
I thought they were making a play for the regular WBA title.
Well, but it's been talked about for a while. I just don't know what's going on, because the last time he fought on that card, didn't he? Was it the YouTube card?
Yes. Yeah, on the undercard, yeah. Yeah, who is the regular WBA champion? I can't forget the guy's name now. It's Don King.
Not the ones that they're having that massive court case for ages about.
No, he was actually in line to fight with. He was going to fight AJ. I think Don King was pushing him when Baby Miller got pulled, and they were trying to put him in there, trying to shoehorn him in. Trevor Bryan. So he's the regular champion. I think they're looking to get Daniel Dubois in with him. But yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's gone very quiet.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, yeah.
What else? What other news we got? Rumors of Charles Martin.
Before we go into that, the just one more fight that I did see was Jaime Munguia versus Daniel Rosado. Yeah. Well, my prediction was that it was going to be a barn burner, and it didn't fail to disappoint. I mean, it kind of went the way I thought it would. I was expecting at least maybe a couple of knockdowns and maybe even a late stoppage for Munguia. But my God, what a fight. Great fight. A contender for fight of the year, in my opinion. But
did he go down?
No. It was just an absolute, they just absolutely went to war. And this is Munguia, you know, he does this every time. And he's 25, 26 years old, and he's had nearly 40 fights. I think he's on 30, I think he's 38-0 now. So I know the Mexican fighters, they do start early, but it's unbelievable, really. And the way that he fights, I don't know if it's going to be good for him long term, but yeah, unbelievable. I mean, the problem is he does get hit too much. That is something I've said, you know, for a while. Whilst I am high on him, he does get hit easy, and I wonder if, you know, once he gets to that kind of the Charlos and people like that, you know, he's just going to get beaten up. But he's in entertaining fights. You know, I can't knock it really. But yeah, a big win, a unanimous win for Jaime Munguia. Daniel Rosado just seems to be kind of in the mix all the time, doesn't he? Because he's always in good fights. But yeah, onwards and upwards for him. But yeah, other news. Sorry, what did you say? Luis Ortiz.
Charles Martin, yeah. Rumours for January the 1st, I heard.
When you messaged me that, I thought that it was confirmed. It's not confirmed then, just rumours.
No, it's rumours. But we'll see. I mean, them two haven't fought for how long? I mean, they're not really into building a career now, are they? They've almost made. I mean, obviously Ortiz is out, but Ortiz is a lot older. But I don't know, with Martin, it's almost just like he's just there now, waiting for a big fight. It's just, but you won't be ready for it. You have not much sharpness. You're not fought in ages.
Well, neither is Luis Ortiz. I mean, this is something I've said before. PBC fighters are just not active enough. They're not active enough. So yeah, I mean,
Luis Ortiz, I can half
expect.
I half get it with Luis Ortiz because he's old as in the earth. So, you know, that's all right. But like someone like Charles Martin, he's not silly old, and he's got, I don't know, it just frustrates me really.
Yeah, it's the heavyweight division. Yeah, other fight news: Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Williams. I think that's going the same night as Conor Benn. Chris Algieri on the 11th of December.
Yeah, I'll miss that because I'll be watching Ben.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be watching Eubank Williams. I mean, I'm really interested in this fight. I'd expect Eubank Jr. to win, but he'll have problems. with Williams. But this is a fight that Eubank Jr. should have been having like 2 or 3 years ago. You know, it's almost like he's, you know, having these stepping stone fights when he really should be kind of in the mix now because of his inactivity, his constant switch with trainers, switch with promotional outfits. It's just, you know, resulted in a very stop-start career. But nevertheless, it'll be a good fight.
I mean, it's disappointing. He's coming towards the end of his career. He hasn't won a world title. I know he'll claim the IBO, but you know, let's be having it right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's annoying because again, he in his last fight, he did say he's going to fight in December. So fair play is, but he was like, it'll be for a world title or it'll be a really big fight. And it's not a big fight when it comes to kind of the casual so much, is it? I mean, I'm interested in it, and obviously, if this other fight I'm going to wasn't on, I'd be watching it. But I wouldn't say I'm like really buzzing for it.
No,
it's not like a massive fight that he kind of paid out. You know, if it'd been a Billy Joe Saunders, I get it, but
yeah.
And I know that was probably always unrealistic, but why come out and say it? I mean, it just leads to disappointment, doesn't it? It's like, right, so that's the fight.
Yeah, better than Marcus Morrison, but yeah, I will be interested in it, and I think it'll be a good yardstick because, you know, Liam Williams for some part of the fight gave Demetrius Andrade some problems. So yeah, let's see what happens there. Any other news?
Yeah, you notified me about an hour ago that Buatsi's pulled out of his
Yes.
fight, which I'm absolutely gutted for because again I'm going to that, and though I'm high on the main event, Chisora Parker for a good tear up, I was really looking forward to seeing Buatsi. So a bit gutted about that.
Yeah,
And hope they put in
out.
some good quality to replace, but doubt it.
Yeah, it's a
What was
shame.
the injury?
I don't know what the injury was. I just heard the rumor that he'd been injured, and
is it confirmed yet then, or just a rumor?
It reports. So I don't think there was anything on the official Boxing News 24 yet. But I saw a couple of things on Twitter. Yeah, so sorry to be the bearer of bad news. All right then. Well, let's wrap it up. And I think tomorrow we do a prediction bonanza because you're going to be going away for 2 weeks. So let's get all the predictions in.
Oh no, I can do early next week as well.
Okay, well, we've got Crawford Porter this weekend.
Yeah.
We've got Demetrius Andrade versus Quigley, which is on the Friday night. I want to do a prediction on that one. And then maybe next week, then we could do the Lopez, Cambosis, Haney, Diaz, and Arthur versus Yard. So we could maybe do those 3 next week. Yeah. All right, cool. Thanks everybody for listening. All right, take it easy.